Hello? Oh, live.
Alive.
That's debatable.
Yes.
But yes, by the grace of Guru Maharaj, grace of the Vaishnavas, we are still alive. Actually, we are never not alive. Sometimes we are manifest in this world, sometimes unmanifest in this world. But not like Krishna. Krishna is sometimes manifest, sometimes unmanifest. But Krishna always eternally living in Vrindavan. In Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, many, many lifetimes we have passed, you and I. But the difference is that I remember all of them and you don't remember any of them. This is the difference. And so this is the difference also with us. Sometimes we are manifest in this world, sometimes we are unmanifest in this world. But even when manifest in this world, we're more or less going along in ignorance. We do not know what is what. We do not know what we are meant to do. We do not know what our life is meant for. And so we're busily running here and there for nothing, actually. But Krishna, when he manifests himself in this world, that is called Leela. And that is sometimes Krishna showing that to the world, sometimes Krishna hiding that from the world. But still, that Leela going on eternally. And that is transcendental. And our exploits in this material world, they are all mundane. And ultimately of no benefit to anybody, least of all ourselves. Guru Maharaj say, we're just going wild goose chasing after things which are not important, which are ephemeral. When actually, in reality, they have no existence. In Gita again, it said the wise, that they understand that which has no permanence doesn't actually exist. And only that which is eternal is real. So you can say the only constant thing in this material world is change. Everything's changing all the time. From one form to another, from one state to another, from one situation to another, and so on. Changing. And the only constant thing in this material world, other than that change, is Krishna. So Krishna is the center of all existence. And he has given us free will. And that means, free will means we can do whatever we want. Actually, we can do right or we can do wrong. Freedom doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to do right. It's the Jai So this is one characteristic of the living being, is that he has freedom. But that freedom is very small, actually. What it boils down to ultimately is you're free to serve Krishna or you're free to serve Maya. There's no real in between, one or the other. Of course, it comes in degrees, but that is the limit of our free will. And mostly, in this material world, we're engaged with Maya. And Maya means that which is not. Just last weekend, that was Durga Puja. And many people celebrating this festival. But it is some recognition of Ramchandra. He worshipped Durga Devi before proceeding to Lanka. And so that Durga Puja festival is connected with that in a higher sense. But generally, people are worshipping Durga for material things, not for spiritual things. So you can say, another meaning of the word Durga actually means prison. And so you can say she's like the warden of the prison, and this material world is the prison. Her service is to keep us here in this material world. When we see her depicted sitting on the back of a lion or tiger, she has 10 arms, and in each arm one weapon. And each of those weapons is meant to keep us, to subdue us here in this material world. But she doesn't need to use any of those weapons. Just raise one eyebrow and we're her slave. So there are those who think, if I want a happy life and a comfortable life, then I must give worship to her, to the prison warden, and she'll go easy on me. She'll be lenient to me. I'll be able to enjoy my life, and life will be happy, life will be auspicious. And that is true. But ultimately, she cannot give freedom from this material world. That is not her function. In fact, it is said that she's a little bit shy to show herself in front of Krishna because of that service. This is a little distasteful to her. Keep us here in this material world. But it is necessary because it is the result of our misuse of our free will that we are here. And Krishna could compel us to serve him. He has that power. He could make us serve him. But that would not satisfy him, because Krishna wants us to serve him with our free will and with our love. He wants us to give our love to him. And love cannot be forced. Love must be a result of free will. You cannot compel somebody to love somebody else. And not even Krishna can do that. Not even Krishna can compel you to love him. Of course, necessarily, by his nature, when you come in real connection with him, there's no other response than to love him. This is Srila Jiva Goswami Pad. He is given in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam that his definition of the word Bhagavan. So Bhagavan, generally we understand Bhagavan to mean he who is full in 6 kinds of opulences. It is a general idea. And Narayan, Vishnu, he fulfills that criteria to the utmost. But we know not only Narayan is known as Bhagavan. Sometimes Mahadev is called Bhagavan. Sometimes Narad is called Bhagavan. So other high gods and goddesses are known as Bhagavan. But Bhagavan, in its ultimate sense, means Swayam Bhagavan. Swayam Bhagavan means the original, the source, and that is Krishna, actually. So, what Jiva Goswami says, that the word Bhagavan comes from bhajaniya guna vishishta. This is where the word Bhagavan derives. And that means that whoever comes in connection with him, their only real response is they must give themselves to him. There is no other possible response. They cannot help. Irresistibly, they must give themselves to him. So for that reason, Krishna is very careful about who he shows himself to, who he reveals himself to. This is not always desirable, that in our, conditioned state, that if we try to engage ourselves with Krishna, we may make a mess of things. Because always some other interest, self-interest is there within us. So for that reason, Maya is there. You want to exercise your right, your free will to do something else, here you go. Here's the facility for that. It's called the material world. And so here we are. And Krishna will not interfere with your free will. Svetashvatara Upanishad gives the example of two birds in a tree. One is the individual soul, and the other is the super soul, or the Paramatma, or the Antarjami, the indwelling monitor, who sees everything. Like two birds in the tree, one bird, he's trying all different kinds of fruits, trying to enjoy the fruits of that tree. And sometimes those fruits are sweet, and sometimes those fruits are bitter. But still he's trying everything. And the other bird watching, but not interfering. But waiting, when that bird, sampling all the fruits of this material world, becomes sick of that, both good and bad, and turns to his friend, the Lord. The Lord is waiting to embrace him, to accept him. Now this example has been given. We are that bird in the tree, trying everything here in this material world, want to experience this, want to experience that, ambitious for this, ambitious for that, and thinking, misconceived thinking, that any one or all of these things will give us satisfaction. But how is it possible that the soul can be satisfied by anything material? The soul is fully spiritual. Then nothing in this material world can satisfy us. Srila Govinda Maharaj gives the example, like if you want to interact with things in outer space, you have to wear a spacesuit. You can't just walk out from your spaceship into the space outside. Immediately you'll die. No oxygen, no anything, so you have to wear a special suit to be able to interact with that. So similarly, the soul has to adopt like a suit to be able to interact with the things of this material world. That's this body, gross body, subtle body, together. Sthula Linga is called. Gross and subtle body. The gross body, the physical body of flesh and blood and so on. And the subtle body, the mind, the intelligence and the ego. So all of those things combined, they enable us to interact with the things of this material world. To touch, to taste, to smell, to hear, to see. They're all through a filter. All through that, you can say, Maya spacesuit that allows us to interact with the things of this world. But actually there's no real connection there. Just like with the astronaut, when he's doing some repairs on his spaceship and in his spacesuit, and he's manipulating the various things outside, he can't actually feel them. He can't really touch them because they're gloves and everything. They're always in between him and that thing. So similarly, that's how we are in this material world. We're trying to connect with all these things, but we can't really touch them. We try to make relationships with one another, but what is that relationship? I don't know who I am, you don't know who you are, but we want to have some deep connection with one another. But how is that possible if I don't even know who I am and you don't know who you are, and I don't know who you are and you don't know who I am? Then it's only going to be superficial, like shadow boxing, just dealing with the shadow, not with the reality. So, Daiviyesha gunamayi mama maya daratyaya. In Gita, Krishna says that this Maya, it is part of my divine energy, and no one can cross over that unless they surrender to me. Then I can cause that Maya to withdraw. Otherwise it is not possible. We cannot see what is what. So we are running after everything. Not even with any clear plan. Just whatever comes in front of us, we run after it. It is very unfortunate type of existence that we think we have some purpose here, but really it's all inconsequential. So what to do? What should we do? Luckily, Krishna is so kind and merciful that he doesn't turn away from us. In fact, it's us that creates darkness, not Krishna. It's not the sun that creates the shadow, but when you turn your back to the sun, you cast the shadow. It's not the fault of the sun. So similarly, when we turn our back on Krishna, we create darkness, and we try to live in that darkness. But we need to turn and face Krishna, reality, the beautiful. And he is waiting to embrace us. I was watching this, I don't know why I was watching it actually, but it was a horrible thing on the television about factory farming of chickens. And maybe it's not even a very nice thing to discuss, but it was quite striking how that corresponded with our existence in this material world. That when the chickens are born in the factory farm, like hundreds of them, they're all born at the same time. These cute, fluffy little yellow chickens, and they're little chicks, and they go down the conveyor belt. And at the end of the conveyor belt, there's like some people. Their job is to identify male or female. Somehow they can tell. They can understand that's a male, that's a female. They've been trained to do that. So then they have like a filter. And the females, they all go this side, because they're all going to make eggs. They're going to produce eggs. They've got like some utility. But the males, no use at all. So they go down the other line and into a grinder, just straight into this machine that just grinds them to nothing. And I was watching that, and these people are completely dispassionate about it. It's just a job. It's just a commodity. So completely dispassionate, and off they go. Males down through the grinder, females off to the egg factory. So, and when I watched that, I was thinking, that's kind of like this material world, right? The filter's there. Those who go to the spiritual world, they're separated. They go this side, spiritual world, Vaikuntha, eternal service of the Lord. And then there's the other ones, the rebels, this material world. They go down that line to the material world. And it wouldn't be any inconvenience, right, to Krishna, to the Creator, if at the end of that line there's just a grinder there waiting for us, down the grinder, finished with, just the ones that want to come, let them come. The others down the grinder, no problem. But Krishna's so merciful that he doesn't send us to the grinder. He sends us here in this material world, and he himself comes or sends his own people to save us, to bring us back. Yeah, you came here and you're trying to enjoy this world separate from your Lord. But actually there is still a path for you to return to your proper purpose, if you want it. And how kind is Krishna that he comes to give us that option. Either he himself comes, yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, and so on. That he comes, or he sends his agent, the saints, the prophets, the messiahs, the sages. They come, and they all come basically with the same message, like, wake up. Now you're sleeping in the lap of Maya. It's time to wake up now and understand the truth. And often we don't like that. We don't like to be woken up. I'm reminded one of my daughters, well, both of them actually, but at certain times when they were younger and going to school, then you have to wake them up in the morning to get them up for school. And what they would say, "Oh, I'm having a really important dream, Dad. Don't wake me up. I'm in a really good dream." Then they'd wake up. "Oh no, you have to get up, time for school." Oh, very upset about it. Then later, then we're sitting, taking breakfast, and I say, "So what was that really important dream that you were having?" "Oh, I can't even remember what it was now." So that's like us, right? We're doing something very important. We don't want you sadhus telling nonsense to us, and try to wake us up from that. But when we are awake, then what was that important thing I don't even remember what it was now. So this is the nature of Maya, always telling us there's something more important for us to do. That's why there are so few devotees of Krishna in the world, actually. And when I say devotee of Krishna, I mean real devotee of Krishna. The true, pure devotee of Krishna. It is very rare. We all say, we are worshipper of Krishna, devotee of Krishna, but what we mean to say is we aspire to be that. We aspire to be a devotee of Krishna. But the truth is that still there's so many other things going on in our life, non-Krishna things going on in our life. And when we get a little time, we can give some time for the devotion, the service of Lord Krishna. When we have some time. But it's rarely our first priority. It's generally somewhere down the line, Well, I've got my job, I've got my family, I've got my business, my responsibilities, all the things in this world. Got to try and be happy. I've got to try and, find all these things to satisfy me in this material world. Oh yeah, and Krishna, yeah, he's also in the equation there as well, and well and good, and so he should be, But those who are real devotees of Krishna, 100% surrendered to Lord Krishna, they don't have any other priority except Krishna. And everything else is, if it is a priority, it's in relation to Krishna. So that kind of devotee is very rare. To find such a person in this material world who is 100% sold to the service of Lord Krishna, a lover of Lord Krishna, we can say. It is very rare to find. And even so many people try to show that they're that. But when we look deeply, we find there's no substance there. This is, Guru Maharaj used to quote Robbie Burns, the Scots poet, who say, rank is but the guinea stamp, man is the gold for that. So just because somebody looks the part, the big top knot and the beard and the red cloth and the rudraksha or whatever it is, and they made a nice big chair for themselves and, giving vibhuti to everybody from their hair or whatever it is. It isn't necessarily so. Rank is but the guinea stamp. I don't know if many of you are old enough to remember that, but the guinea stamp was a currency, and there was it was a stamp that they would put, the bank would put, a guinea stamp, and you could exchange it. I think a guinea was £1 and 1 shilling. I think that something like that was what it was. But in the old day, in the old money, before it was decimalized. So, but the guinea stamp, without the backing of gold, is worthless. So that it's only worth something if there's the gold in the coffers, in the treasury to support that, to back that. So similarly, the rank or the outward show is nothing if the man isn't the gold for that. As Srila Govinda Maharaj used to say, anyone could make a chair for themselves, or anyone could, put on red cloth and grow a big beard or whatever. It doesn't mean anything. So I was just saw that recently. Maybe I've said this before, and forgive me if I have. But in America especially now, it's been for a while, but in Hollywood, it's very fashionable to have an Indian guru now. It's very fashionable to do. You do your yoga and everything. But you also have a guru, and one of the most popular ones is Deepak Chopra. You've probably heard of him. Yeah. He's a clever man, but he's not particularly spiritual, really. But he's clever at marketing himself. So he said. One of the things he says, we are human beings, not human doings. And everyone goes, wow, he's right. That's really deep, that's really profound. Yeah, tell us more. But spiritual life isn't that. In fact, in the scripture there, it's told in the Purana, that one should not become a father, a mother, a husband, a wife, a guru, or a deva, a god, unless they can free their dependence from the cycle of birth and death. So that's all of us disqualified, what can we do? But but included in there, a god or a guru. You should not be any of those things unless you can deliver your dependents from birth and death, the cycle of birth and death. And also, mother, father, husband, wife, you shouldn't do that. What to do? But if we are connected with the proper guide, then all of those things may be permissible. Mahaprabhu told, by my command, become guru and liberate this land. That's a general instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to all of his followers. Not just sannyasis, not just, those who are, monks or something like that. To all of his followers. Become the guru and liberate this land. And don't think that you'll be overcome by Maya, by doing that. That everyone will worship you, that everyone will be bowing down to you, and all of those things, which of course they're very difficult to deal with in life. But no, because by doing this service, you will get my backing and my company will be with you. I will be with you to do that. So it is not that we should be afraid to tell people about Krishna consciousness, to try to connect people with Krishna. It is our duty to do that. In other words, when we've come in connection with something that is giving some substantial help to us, we should try to share that with others. That's only natural. It's only natural. So, like just recently I had something I've suffered with for the last more than 20 years is kidney stones. And it's absolute agonizing when it happens, absolute agony. And there's no relief for it, actually. I've tried everything over the years. Standing on my head. I mean, because it's basically when the stone blocks the exit entrance of the organ, and it's trying to push it, and oh my goodness, it's agony. I've tried everything. Funnily enough, for the first so many years, I never thought I should just take some heavy painkillers, and then it was only when I was hospitalized with it, and the doctor said, okay, they gave me intravenous paracetamol. He said it's like as strong as heroin if it's given intravenously, Within 5 minutes, pain was gone. I was, yay, fantastic. He said, right, off you go, you can go home now. And I said, but when that wears off, it's coming back, isn't it? He said, don't worry, I'll give you a nice big bag of drugs to take home. Okay, thanks very much. But, it's just dealing with the symptom, not really with the cause. But anyway, why was I saying that? Oh yeah, the reason I was saying that is because, when my friends found out that, I wasn't at the temple this week because I was laid up with the kidney stones in agony with that, then they all phoning me up or messaging me and saying, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Then I had this and this I took this treatment, it was really good. My brother had this, he tried this herb, it was really... all of this advice was coming to me from people who cared about me. And this is just normal, isn't it? It's normal. If you have something that has given you some relief, some benefit in your life, and someone else is suffering similarly to you, you want to share that with them, don't you? You don't sit at home going, yeah, if only he knew about that. If only he knew about that, he wouldn't be suffering like that. No, if you care about them, you ring up. You've got to try this, it'll help you. So similarly, that's what it means, if we really feel substantially that Krishna consciousness has benefited us in our life, then it's incumbent upon us naturally to try to share that with others that we care about. And this is Mahaprabhu's instruction to us. Be Guru, and Guru means teacher. Teach people about Krishna consciousness. As much as you know, teach that to others. Maybe you don't know everything. Srila Govinda Maharaj said, I asked the doctor, Guru Maharaj's doctor, Srila Maharaj's doctor, he's the head of the medical board in Navadvip. He's like the best doctor of that area. And Srila Govinda Maharaj said, he would come and treat Guru Maharaj. And I asked him, do you have to know everything about medicine before you can actually treat somebody? And his reply was, no, of course not, because then no doctor would treat anybody. Because no doctor knows everything about medicine. But as much as you know, you can help people with that. So, it's just a simple thing. If you're walking along the riverbank and you see somebody drowning, maybe you're not a good swimmer, but if you can even do a dog paddle, you jump in and try and help them. You don't say, I'll be back once I've got my certificate in life-saving from the swimming pool. This is too late then. It's too late. So, we may not be Goswamis, we may not be, great pundits or anything like that. But if we know something about Krishna and Krishna consciousness, then we can share that with others as much as we're able to. As much as it's genuinely helped us, that much we should try to help others. And if we don't, that makes us a criminal. If we don't try to help others, if we don't try to share this with others, we must do that. Otherwise, not only criminal, but ungrateful. We should be grateful what has helped us in our own life. So I remember Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj telling when he was at a conference, like an interfaith conference, and different religious leaders, they were giving talk. And there was one Swami there. He was quite famous in the 1960s. But anyway, his remark was that in his lecture he said, when you eat something very nice, then you become silent. You're satisfied, you just become silent. And Goswami Maharaj, when it was his turn to speak, he said, I don't want to contradict what my esteemed colleague said, but my experience is, when you eat something very nice, you want to tell your friends about it, isn't it? Did you try that? It's really good. You've got to try that. This is normal. This is human nature. So really, if we feel something valuable in Krishna consciousness, we have to try to share that with others as much as we can. Of course, we may be afraid, or people will laugh at us, if we say about that, And nowadays, people laugh at you if you tell them you believe in God. They say, oh, your invisible friend, you mean, like the tooth fairy or something, They think it, especially in England, in Britain, they think you must be some kind of imbecile if you believe in God, Only fools believe that. Not educated, intelligent people. So, people are a little bit reluctant to tell that they believe in God.
Now there is one category in forms, like in medical forms, where we just write the patient contact details and everything. Yeah. So there's one category, non-believer.
Okay. There you are.
So, this is the declared Christian country. So, the majority of people must be quite in good faith in that.
Well, you can. It's how would you say? What's the word to describe it? It's formal. It's formal. And I was raised as a Christian. We went to church every week, and You know, when we were children, we went to Sunday school every Sunday, you know, but nobody really believes it. You know, it's just something that we do as part of our culture. Even Richard Dawkins, you've heard of him, right? He wrote that book, The God Delusion. He's a scientist, right? But even he said, at Christmas time, I like to go to the church and sing the carols and everything, you know, because it's part of my culture. It's part of like what I do, you know. So then, he doesn't believe in any of it. In fact, he's adamantly opposed to that. But you know, so that's kind of most people are like that. My brother, he asked me when his son was going to be baptized at the church. He asked me, "Will you be the godfather?" It's kind of normal thing. You ask your brother or, you know, your best friend or whatever, "Will you be the godfather?" And I said, "Yes, I'll be the godfather, but you know the responsibility of the godfather is to take care of the spiritual life of the children that he's godparent to, right?" So he said, "So if you ask me to do that, I'll do it, but you must understand that I'll take that seriously, you know." Then he said, "Oh, it's okay, I'll ask one of my friends." So then he asked me, you know, like, "Will you take part in the ceremony with me?" You know, like, there's a whole ceremony that they do. You know, you have to say, "I renounce Satan and all his works, and, you know, I accept the light of Jesus as my personal savior and everything." And I said, "Well, you know, I'm not a Christian, but I don't want to make a false vow in front of the altar of God, you know. This is still God's altar." And he's like, "Oh, it's meaningless. It's just something that we do, you know. It's just something that we do." So, and seriously, most people who will say that they're Christians or whatever, that's. I mean, there are those who are devout and they're into it big time. But most people in this country, it's just a tradition, you know. It's what Srila Prabhupada used to call rubber stamp religion, you know. Hindu, Muslim, Christian, you know, a rubber stamp on your application form. But non-believer, you know, like whatever it is, it's all the same. It doesn't really mean anything ultimately. So, although I was raised a Christian, and I was kind of, as a child, I was very enthusiastic about it. And especially we go to Sunday school in the afternoon. I think there was as we lived in a small village in the country, and then the pastor, he used to come with a minibus, and he'd get all the kids from the school, from the village. We'd all go in the minibus, and he'd take us out. There's like a chapel out in the country, and we used to go there, and there was a thing each week. We used to have a thing called Scripture Union, and you'd get like a sheet of paper with a picture of some Bible story, and tell the Bible story, and you had to colour the picture, and you'd learn a shloka, like a verse, a Bible verse, and by next week you had to be able to recite that Bible verse and explain what it meant. So I was really enthusiastic for that. And twice a year we used to have, in the summer, there was for the children a summer party, and at Christmas time a Christmas party, and they were held at the pastor was also a farmer, and he had a farm called Manna Farm. You know, manna means the food from heaven. So we used to look forward to this every year at the Manna Farm, the Christmas party, the summer party, and they would have presentations at this thing, you know. And I'd always win the one for learning the most Bible verses. So I was really enthusiastic about it until I got a little bit older and started questioning everything, you know. And I asked actually the first thing, I don't know if it was maybe kind of intuitive, but one of my school friends, she most of us in the village, we were kind of poor. But her father was like a landowner, had a big stables, like a breeding stable for horses. And so I was friends with her, and sometimes I would go to the farm and we would ride the horses together. But her house was right next to the priest's house for the local church. And he had a big house, really big house, which came with the job, like 12-bedroom house with big, like really big ground, because it's out in the country, right? So big grounds. And I'd see him there on the weekend. He used to have a lawnmower that you can drive, one of those like petrol lawnmowers. He'd sit on the petrol lawnmower and he's driving it. And he's got a big cigar in one hand and a glass of brandy in the other. I don't know how he's manoeuvring with it, but and I would say to my mother, like, he's a priest. Like, why is he smoking cigars and drinking brandy? And like it seems like he's just like living it up. It doesn't seem to be like a very Christ-like kind of existence. And my mum would say, "Oh, don't be so silly," But just intuitively, I thought that no, this is not right. A priest shouldn't live it this way.
You all did that.
Yeah, all like that. Yeah. So then, and then I asked him, because we were Church of England, not Catholic, but you're baptized when you're a child, and then when you become like a teenager, they have what's called confirmation, which means you confirm your faith. And you have to learn something about the scripture and be able to explain some things like this. So when I was going to the confirmation classes, I remember asking the priest, why are some people born in poverty and suffering and other people are born into wealth and privilege? That doesn't seem to indicate a very equitable or loving God. Like some people in the world, they don't even have enough food for like a bowl of rice a day, At that time there was that big famine in Bangladesh going on. I don't know if you remember that, but that was a whole thing. And it was in the news a lot. And I couldn't kind of get my head around that. And the priest's reply to me was, "It's a mystery. It's a mystery." And I just thought, well, that's not good enough, is it? That's really not a good enough answer. Is it anything you don't have an answer for, you just say it's a mystery. But like, I just wanted to know why would God do that? Because like in Christianity generally, they don't even accept reincarnation, right? So you've got one go. You've got one life to get it right. And these people are at a disadvantage right from the word go, right? Aren't they? They don't even have enough to eat on a day-to-day basis. And someone else across the world, just born into luxury and everything, got everything on a plate. It doesn't make sense. It's a mystery. So then, I started to think, well, maybe it is all nonsense, all this God stuff, And so I can understand that, like most intelligent people, if that's their option of faith, they're not going to really take it very seriously, are they? But this is the main question that I think that people question their faith in, is why is there so much suffering in the world? Why does God allow so much suffering in the world? And they don't have an adequate answer. If their answer is just, it's a mystery.
Thank you, Prabhu. You solved one problem. I'm seeing my clients, and mostly they have, what I have found, they have death anxiety. So some clients have death anxiety, like clearly it's death anxiety, but some clients have health anxiety, and when we go a little bit deeper into that, like what it means to you, we ask clients, what it means to you? What if I will have a heart attack? I will die.
Yeah.
Then, death anxiety. So I was talking, so I treat my patients and all.
Yeah.
So now I understand why they have health anxiety, because they believe this is the only life.
Yeah.
And nothing is there after this.
That's right.
So I will lose everything.
Yeah.
And
That's right. And so those who have faith, some faith, then they're thinking, oh, then I'll go to heaven when I die and so on. That's okay. But so there's some hope in their life,
exactly.
in their life idea. But so they also teach that if you don't accept Christ as your Savior, then you're going to burn in hell forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Not just a little bit of burning, but like eternally. Which is seems pretty rough, doesn't it? That God created you just to burn in hell forever. Eternally on fire. In agonizing pain for eternity. Oh, that's not a very nice God, is it? It's not the kind of God that I want.
Because Krishna says, whoever takes my name,
Yes.
be it evil person or is a very pious person,
Yeah.
whoever takes my name, I take that person in equanimity.
Yeah.
Because Krishna, he doesn't discriminate between people.
Yes.
So that is why in Srimad Bhagavad Gita he has said, whoever comes to my abode, I just take him.
I mean, this makes sense, So, whereas that burning in hell forever doesn't it? They say he was a God-fearing man.
Yeah.
Is that what it means? That they're afraid that God's going to burn them in hell if they do something wrong? Is that what it means? Then, okay, so fear of God may be one kind of religion. But love of God, that's the religion of the saints. We don't hear the saints talking about fear of God, love of God. Then, there was, when the Christian missionaries, they went to Greenland, where there's Eskimos, right? The Eskimos, they didn't know anything about Christianity or anything like that. They had their own traditions, their own beliefs and so on. And then the Christian missionaries came there. And then anyway, they converted many of the Eskimos to Christianity. And then the leader of the Eskimo tribe, he asked the priest, the missionary, so I have a question for you. That if you know about Christ and don't accept him as your Savior in your heart, then you're condemned to burn in hell forever. Is that correct? He said, yes, it's correct. He said, but what if you've never heard about Christ? Will God... No, of course not. If you don't know anything about him, then of course God's not going to do that. He's a loving God. He said, wouldn't it have been better that you didn't tell us then?
But the Devashis were, I think, also formerly in the 50s and the 60s, and now with this information time age that so much is on the internet, and also materialism has escalated so much that people see, oh yeah, we are sinful. We're doing a lot of sin, and we see all over the world the escalation of things going out of hand because people are sinful and people don't believe in God, or now they're searching in another way, isn't that so? There is another time spirit now than like in the 50s and 60s when you were...
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, the difference is, and we shouldn't underestimate this, is that Srila Prabhupada came and taught Krishna consciousness to the world. And people didn't understand karma, reincarnation, these things. They were foreign concepts in the Western world. Novelty ideas, But, or if they had some idea about it, it was all kind of mishmash, misconceived idea. So, and we do live in, you can say in one sense, an enlightened age, right? We know, many things in religion are superstition. They're not actually anything to do with spiritual reality. In all religions you find that, But so a lot of people, they reject that, and especially religions like Christianity, they don't have much substance to them when you actually take them apart. But actually the foundation of Christianity is very good, because it's self-sacrifice and dedication and love of God. Christ taught that. We don't have a problem with Christ, it's just his followers we have a problem with, or so-called followers. But anyhow, all religion teaches truth to various degrees. But if you're actually interested in truth, you have to be able to go beyond your rubber stamp. Truth is truth wherever you find it, isn't it? So then we have to be able to go beyond that. When I was growing up, on Sundays they always used to have religious programs on the television in the morning, and my mum used to like to watch those, and sometimes I'd watch them. And anyway, they had this program one day, and it's coming now. It's in the 1970s. They're trying to be more, liberal in their thinking. So then this one day they're showing the widows in Vrindavan, and analysing how devoted these ladies are, and all these things. So, and one of the people, on the show, she's a Catholic nun, and the presenter was saying, "Isn't this wonderful? See, such religious fervor, so much devotion. They're going, showing all the temples in Vrindavan with all these widows going there. Isn't this a wonderful thing?" And the nun, trying to be liberal, she says, yes, it's very nice to see that. But then she says, but unless and until they accept Lord Jesus as their personal saviour, they are going to burn in hell forever, So, no matter what they do in this life, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So it's very difficult to cross beyond that kind of conditioned thinking. And naturally, whichever religion you follow, you must think it's the best. Otherwise, why would you follow it? Isn't it? And today, it's not good enough just to say, because that's what my family followed, and we've always followed that. That's not good enough. It's okay, culturally, that's fine. But if you're actually interested in the truth, you have to be able to cross beyond that. Look and see what is actually the truth. And with some kind of discrimination, you have to have intelligence to see. If we believe, that everyone likes to say God is love, right? Every religion says that God is love. But so does it make sense that God would say, yes, I love you as long as you believe this, but if you don't believe that, then because I love you so much, I'm going to burn you forever, That doesn't really make much sense, does it? It doesn't really portray a loving God. So, then everybody wants love. Whether you're religious or not religious. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God. This common theme is there for everyone. Everyone is looking for someone that they can love and someone who will love them. So, then we try and find that in this material world with this boy or this girl, this whatever it may be, Generally, we are disappointed. Or we settle for something, But that person does exist. It's just that it's Krishna. And it's Krishna for everybody, actually, It's not just for a few people. It's for everyone. When Sanatana Goswami asked Mahaprabhu, Ki ami? Who am I? And why am I suffering in this material world? And Mahaprabhu said, Jivara Swarupohoi Krishnara Nityadas Krishnara Tatasta Shakti Veda Ve Prakash. So he's not saying that not just for you, Sanatan, but for everyone. Sanatan was no fool. He's a great Vaishnava scholar, Brahmin, and a Pandit. And he already knows the answer to that question, but he wants to hear, what does Chaitanya Dev say? What does Mahaprabhu say? How will he say? Jivara Sharupo, you are spirit, you are the Jiva, and your Sarup, your form, Krishna and Nityadas, you're the eternal servant of Krishna. Everyone, eternal servant of Krishna. Krishnara Tatasta Shakti. That means you are from or are the marginal energy of the Lord. That means not from the spiritual world, not from the material world, but where the two meet. That's where the Jiva is born. Someone said to me recently when we were discussing this, said, "Oh, that sounds horrible to be that, to come from there." And I said, "It's not a place. It's not, don't think of it like it's a geographical place. It's actually who you are. It's what you are by nature. You are Tatasta Shakti. Tatasta Shakti means marginal. You can be influenced by the material or you can be influenced by the spiritual. You can adapt yourself to either." And Srila Guru Maharaj gave a very, very simple example to explain Tatasta. Often in the scripture it's told Tata, means like the margin where the ocean and the land meet. It's not exactly land, it's not exactly sea. That place, that's Tata. But Guru Maharaj's example, much more simple to understand. 1947, they partitioned Bangladesh and India. West Bengal and East Bengal. They were previously West Bengal, East Bengal. At the time of partition, it became, I think it was called East Pakistan originally. And so they made this partition. And they made a border, basically. This is the border now. This side is India. This side is Bangladesh. Then it was completely arbitrary how they drew the line. But what it meant was that some people, their house, their living room was in India and their bedroom was in Bangladesh. Or like half their room was in Bangladesh, half their room was in India. So then Guru Maharaj said, so for those people, they had to be given dual passport. Indian passport, Bangladeshi passport, both. So they can go either side. So this is Tatasta. We're like that. We can go India, we can go Bangladesh. We can go spiritual world, we can go to the material world. That's Tatasta. So, Krishnara Tatasta Shakti, Veda Ved Prakash. Veda Ved Prakash means you are one with God because you are spiritual by nature, but you're also different from Him because He is the infinite and you are finite. He is always the master, you are always the servant. He is Shaktiman, you are Shakti. This is the meaning of Veda Ved Prakash. And Veda Ved applies to everything. Everything in the phenomenal world has that relationship with God. It is His energy, but also at the same time different from His energy. One and different simultaneously. And Mahaprabhu also used this term, Achintya. Achinta Veda Ved Prakash. And Achintya means inconceivable. So, in one sense, you can say, Achintya is like saying, it's a mystery. It's something we don't understand. And then you can say, and like anything you don't understand, Achintya. It's Achintya. Anything you can't explain, oh, it's Achintya. But no, it's not that. It's not for like conveniently sketching over the grey areas. It's essential to our understanding that some things are Achintya to us. Like Guru Maharaj says, with your puppy brain, what will you understand about the infinite? You can only understand so much. This glass can only be filled with so much water. So some things are actually achintya. We can't know everything. And this is part of the human disease, really, is that we always want to have the answer to everything in our fist. But some things we can't understand. We don't know the answer to, because they're beyond our understanding. This is achintya. And it's an essential part of understanding Mahaprabhu's Siddhanta, is accepting that yes, there are some things that are achintya. And we can understand to a point. Some things we can understand. But how we can understand that Krishna and his name are the same. We understand, right, philosophically and everything, but then why is it when we say Krishna, we don't immediately fall in ecstasy? Why not? Because Krishna's ecstasy personified, then his name must be ecstasy personified. So, but then does that mean Krishna is not identical with his name? So this is achintya, actually. How Krishna and his name are identical. We can have some idea about that. But to fully understand that, you can't. With the intellect, you can't fully understand. Only by revelation. When that knowledge, if you like, descends into your consciousness, then you'll know. When you know, you know. You know, some things are, even in this world, some things are only theoretical, right? Theoretically, someone can tell you how to make the perfect cake, right? You add this ingredient, that ingredient, make a perfect cake. It's the best tasting cake ever. You got your cake, you made it. But how do you know that it's the best tasting cake ever? Well, I got the formula right, I did everything as I was told to do. Yeah, but how do you know? There's only one way to know, and that's to taste it. So similarly in spiritual life, we know all the theory, we know all the philosophy, we know the Siddhanta, we know everything. But the only way to actually know it is you have to experience it. And it's not a subjective sensual experience or mental experience. It's a transcendental experience that descends upon you at the whim of the Lord. You know, Guru Maharaj says, the Lord said, let there be light, there was light. The Lord said, let there be water, there was water. So like that. If he desires it, it'll happen. So what we know about Krishna, we know the theory, we know everything. And we aspire to know that. But ultimately, there's no right of access to that. You can't go to the office door and knock on the door and say, you know, this is my qualification in Krishna consciousness. I was initiated in this year, and I got my name, and I chant this many rounds every day, and I do this many obeisances to the devotees every day. I worship Krishna on the altar. I do this, I do that. Now you have to let me in. He doesn't have to let you in. And someone else, some little child who's done nothing, comes running up with his balloon in his hand. Yes, come on in, my boy. So what about, what, you know, he didn't do anything. I did so many things. And no, all rights reserved by him. We have no right, never by right. It's only by grace. So that should be our sadhana, to invoke the Lord's grace. And Mahaprabhu has given us the formula for that. Humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others. Srila Govinda Maharaj says, you can follow everything else in Krishna consciousness, but if you don't practice humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others, you won't get it. You'll never get it. It is the most essential thing. Mahaprabhu says, who is humble? Who is tolerant? Who can give honor to other? And, let's not forget, does not desire any honor for themselves. They can chant the name of Krishna constantly. So it doesn't just mean that I can Hare Krishna, I can do it all the time. It means it flows in them. Whether they're awake, whether they're asleep, what the holy name is moving through them. How much this is true, I can't say, but our Guru Maharaj's godbrother, you may have heard of him, Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. It was acknowledged he was a Paramahansa Vaishnava and completely surrendered to the holy name of the Lord. And we heard that when he was ill and taken into the hospital, when the doctor put the stethoscope on his chest, the doctor said, I could not hear a heartbeat, I could hear Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. That's what I heard through the stethoscope. And he swears that was what he heard. So, this is Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj.
Can you say, Prabhu, that humility and tolerance is close to love and affection?
That's integral to it, actually, you know. We heard that from Srila Gurudev, right? That, you know, Saraswati did tell you, because she was there, she was one of them, what we called Guru Maharaj's veranda servitors, you know. They, with Srila Govinda Maharaj, they're serving him, personally serving him, day and night. And they're all dedicated to Gurudev's service, 100%. But not all of them get along with each other. You know, this one doesn't like that one particularly, and that one doesn't like that one. So one time Gurudev telling us, you know, that one of the ladies, they came and said, this one, I just can't tolerate them, you know, they're always doing this, and Gurudev said, no, you have to tolerate. You know, Mahaprabhu has taught us, tolerate. So she said, okay, I'll tolerate. Then maybe 2-3 weeks later, she came back and said, I've been tolerating, but still, I just can't, I can't bear it, you know. I just can't, I've been tolerating. And Gurudev said, but you have not been tolerating with affection. You have not been tolerating with love. That must be the mood of your toleration. Not just grit your teeth, you know, and get on with it. There must be some love there in the heart. And really that's the key to everything. Love. Love. We want love. We want to be loved. We want to give love. Then if we want that, we also have to be prepared to give that. And what we do, we must do with love, as much as possible. You know, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, you've all heard of her, I'm sure. Our Guru Maharaj liked her very much, you know, and sometimes he would send devotees to meet with her. And but she said, we may be small people, we may not be able to do many great things, but we can do many small things with great love. And this is really the essence of spiritual life, is that whatever we do, we should try to do it with love.
But Prabhu, if suppose somebody is not nice with us, and we are just tolerating them, we are patient, we are doing whatever we could do, and they are not nice, maybe not even verbally not nice with us, till how long we can tolerate them? And what to do?
Yeah.
Correct them, because leaving them also is not good, because maybe they will get this same person, because it's like being tolerant doesn't mean we are weak.
Yeah.
It's not a sign of weakness, but it is actually that they think that it's a weakness, or whether their ego tell them that they are very strong if they are not nice with them. Then how to deal with those kind of people?
Krishna said, this story, his brother, he said, 99 times I'll just...
Shishupal, yeah. Yes.
I'll forgive you, but...
Yes. Well, once when I was with Srila Govinda Maharaj and I was coming back to London, I said, do you have any message to give to the devotees in London? And he said, yes, Prabhu. You tell them that by tolerance they will get everything. And they must tolerate everything until it becomes completely intolerable.
Yes.
And then tolerate that also.
So tolerance is there.
Yeah,
That is the clause.
because tolerance is the one thing you can't fake.
Yes.
You know, you can fake humility.
Yes.
Anyone can show I'm very humble, and you can also fake giving honor to other people too. Oh, you're such a great person, you know, like all of that. But you cannot fake tolerance. Either you're tolerant or you're not.
Yes.
You know, once Srila Prabhupada, when I joined the temple, there was a devotee called Krishnadas. He was the president of Bury Place temple where I first went. I think he was Dutch.
Yeah.
Big, with bright red hair. And he told me that there used to be this man who would come to the temple, an Indian man, and when they would open the curtains to give darshan, he would faint on the floor in front of the seat. He'd say, "Oh, Sham!" and he'd like do this, and he'd faint on the floor, unconscious, you know. And then when Srila Prabhupada came, they said, "What can we do about this man always coming and fainting and, you know, like showing some kind of ecstasy or something, you know, we don't know, genuine or not they're thinking probably not genuine, you know, but what can we do?" And Prabhupada's reply was, "Kick him in the head. And if he still remains in that trance, then offer your obeisances to him." Because who can tolerate that? If someone kicks you in the head, if you're making some show, you're not going to be able to tolerate it, are you? You know? But if you are actually something genuine, it won't mean anything to you. So it's like we know that, right? If somebody stamps on your toe, immediately you're up for a fight, isn't it? That is just human nature. So tolerance is, of all of those advices of Mahaprabhu, tolerance is the most essential, to be tolerant. Even Lord Jesus said that. If somebody slaps you on the left cheek, offer them your right cheek also. Now, you know then, but it has to be real. It has to be real. You can't pretend. Either you are or you aren't tolerant. But we have to try. We have to practice tolerance. But, you know, we all know the saying, right? To err is human. So no one will condemn you if you tried to tolerate until it was really intolerable. And then you also tried, but still it was intolerable. We're only human. We are not saints. Then we can only do as much as we can do. And then in that case, then you have no option but to walk away. That's all. You can't do anything else. Because you can't, you know the saying, right? By force you can't even get into another man's shoes. Isn't it? You can't force anything. It has to be natural. So all of these things, humility, tolerance, giving honor, it must be natural. But because it's not natural to us, these things, then we have to practice them. We have to practice. So, you know, it means you have to step back. Srila Gurudev used to say, and he thought this was so important that he put it on the wall all around the temple in Calcutta. Wait and see. Wait and see. So especially in the modern age now, always we react, you know, a knee-jerk reaction. Something happens, we have to immediately react. And we're almost kind of forced to do that, right? When somebody sends you a text on your phone, if you haven't replied in 5 minutes, they're like, "What's wrong? Have I upset you? Have you, you know, like, what? You only sent me a message 5 minutes ago, you know." You understand, right? So this is the society, the world that we live in. Everything has to be immediate. but it pays dividends to wait and see. And often, difficult circumstances will resolve themselves if you just wait and see. Don't take any action. You know, when Ravan was defeated by Ramchandra, and he's lying dying, and all of the monkeys, they're all making fun of him, insulting him, and like this. Ramchandra didn't like that at all. So he called Lakshman, and he said, you know that Ravan was actually a very great person, and very wise also. So, and all this scornful attitude, I don't like it. So you please go and ask him to give some upadesh, some teaching to you that will be helpful in your life. So Lakshman went and told, my Lord Ram has asked me that you please will give some life teaching to me. That is the most important thing you've learnt in your life. Please impart that to me. And Ravan said, yes, this is my advice to you. When something is auspicious, do it immediately. And if something is inauspicious, try and avoid that as much as possible. And he said, this is why I'm lying here today defeated on my deathbed. I've lost everything. Because when I heard from my sister, Surpana, that these two brothers, two humans living in the forest, have defeated the armies of Ka and Dushana, my brothers, Rakshasa armies, by themselves, said, I immediately could understand that it must be Narayan. It cannot be any human being. It must be Narayan himself. Narayan must be these two brothers. And he said, then my immediate thought was, let me go and surrender at their lotus feet. But instead of doing that, I left it, I consulted with other people, and they advised me not to do that, and so I didn't do it. And then, when Surpanak told me, oh, he has a very beautiful wife, she'd be ideal for you. When he told me about the beauty of Sita, and I know that was wrong, that I would take another man's wife for myself. I know that's wrong. My father advised me not to do that. My own father said, you're a great hero. If you do that, your infamy will be forever if you do such a thing. And everyone advised me not to do it. But as soon as I saw her, I was overcome by desire, and I wouldn't listen to anyone. I just had to do it. Although I knew that it was wrong, I knew it was evil, I knew it was inauspicious, I couldn't stop myself. And now you see the result of that. So this is my advice to you, Lakshman. If something is auspicious, don't even think about it twice. Do it immediately. If you know it to be auspicious. And if you know it to be inauspicious, to be wrong, to be wicked, do everything you can to avoid that. So, in the case of our reaction to things, it's always good to wait and see what will be the outcome. But if something is super auspicious, you should jump for that. Because who knows when you'll get that chance again? Who knows? If that chance comes to you by fortune, jump for it. You can't lose anything. Anyway, these are some thoughts.
And for the next time, that we can always see everything like is happening by the grace of the Lord. Everything is good. So in a bigger picture, what we heard in that verse, that in Kampang Susamiksham, that whatever happened, auspicious or not auspicious, it's all good, actually.
Yeah,
If
but
you
that's
get-
that means what happens to you, but not what you do. You understand? So what will happen to you, auspicious, inauspicious, if you have a deeper vision, you can see the loving hand of the Lord behind that. But, you know, it's not necessarily what happens to you which is good or bad, but how you react to it which is good or bad, isn't it? So, you know, the same thing can happen to you, and you can, with a knee-jerk reaction, you can do the wrong thing. And often, mostly we find that our knee-jerk reaction is wrong, generally. Because it's an instinctual, it's defensive, and it's self-serving. And it's usually wrong. It's ego, yeah, it's coming from the wrong place. But, so if we stand back and contemplate what is the meaning, if we try to see what is the Lord's hand in this, how is the Lord moving this, then we can make the proper response. Yes?
Why sometimes we feel that we are doing good to everyone? We are not doing any bad thing to anyone. But still we are suffering. See, we are so good. We are doing so good to others. But inauspicious thing is happening to us, around us, to our family, father, mother, sister, brother, wife, kid. But the other person, he is doing all the wrong things.
And getting everything.
He is very happy.
Yes. This is
sometimes
Matrasparshasta kunteya sitosa sukhaduka agama paino nityas kamtitiksha bharata. That happiness and distress, they're like the winter or summer seasons. They're coming. Nobody wants unhappiness, but unhappiness is coming. It's just part of life. You can't avoid it. Nobody looking for it. Nobody going out and saying, you know, where can I find some suffering today? You think everything's going super, everything's great, you know, and then some calamity happens in your life. Why? And actually the reason is this. If we are serious to understand Krishna consciousness, the reason is so that we don't make the mistake of thinking that this world is our home. In our home everything is beautiful. In our home everything is auspicious and good, and no injustice. Of course, ultimately there's no injustice anywhere. But when we think that we're doing everything right, that we're doing, you know, and then still some bad thing happens to us, it is to teach us that this isn't your home. And you should try to find your home. There you will find everything is perfect. So if we did everything right in this world and everything was perfect in this world, we may not want to leave. We may think, oh, yeah, it's quite nice here actually, I'm going to say. It's just good to know, you know, it's good to know. And it's just part of life, isn't it? You know, everybody's gonna suffer from disease, from illness, from natural calamities, from disturbance from their neighbors, disturbance from other living beings, disturbance from the elements. You can't avoid it. It's just what comes. It's par for the course. Living in the material world, those things are going to happen. There's a pop song that I remember from the 1970s that says, "Only three things for sure: taxes, death, and trouble." Yeah, it's the fact. Nobody can avoid it.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how good you are.
Yes.
You can't avoid it. So don't worry about it. Just try and search out where is your real home. Then everything will be perfect.
So this is my brother-in-law actually.
Okay.
I mean, he recently actually got accident as well. Major accident, car accident actually. he actually got the second life.
Hare Krishna.
And he would like to share his few realization just in couple of.
Yes, of course.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
And how you apply
Yeah.
life.
Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the song sung by Lord Krishna, the first slok is Dharm Kshetre Kurukshetre Samveta Yutsava Mamka Cha Pandava Kim Akurvat Sanjaya. It's called Dharm Kshetra, pious land. Reason being because Krishna was there.
Yeah.
Krishna was there, that is why it was Dharm Kshetra. It was pious land. And there Pandava and Kaurav, they were together to fight. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, as Lord Krishna, when Arjun was feeling very depressed, he was feeling very sad. Now I don't want, because when they were together, he saw his guru, he saw his elders, he saw his sons, everyone was there. And when he saw, he said to Krishna, I don't want any land. I don't want anything. I can't fight with them. I can't fight with them. I don't want anything. Then from second chapter, Krishna starts the teaching of Gita. He started teaching, and the thing is, Krishna did not give the knowledge of Gita to Arjun because he was his brother-in-law, he was his friend, he was Kunti's son. No. When he surrendered at Krishna's feet, then he made him his shishya and started teaching him. My father, he was learned man, he's no more. We lost him in last April. So he has, Prabhuji, written, there are 700 shlokas and he took 18 chapters. So he took views of 18 great people and he has written his views also. It's under publication. I am trying to just publish that. So from there, and I have learned from my guru, I have taken some inspiration from that. So I was telling, when I met with an accident, it was very big accident. I was driving on a highway and I tried to save a dog, and my car just went on the ramp and it turned upside down for 3 times, and that my car. It was very major accident, and the thing is, at that time I felt Krishna was there, because one boy was sitting with me. He did not get a scratch, and when my mother, he only called and he said that we have met with an accident and Bhaiya is injured very badly. So my mom, she said that I saw Virat Sarup of Krishna and Vindhyavasini Devi, sister of Krishna, Lord Krishna. She said, I saw eyes of Vindhyavasini Devi and Virat Sarup of Krishna, and she said, please save my child. And I'm here.
And there was one dupatta of Lord Krishna from Vrindavan. And my mom told that boy, like, just tie that. It's bleeding badly.
Because
his head was bleeding badly.
My head was open like this, like a book's
like
chapter.
Like,
so he just did it like this. He tied that dupatta of Lord Krishna on my head, and I'm here in front of you people. So Krishna, so what Srimad Bhagavad Gita teaches us, Krishna says, we should do our duty with utmost attention, devotion, without any, what you said, Prabhuji, without attachment, Maya. Maya should not come in our way, because that is the main root cause of every
Suffering.
ill will in our life. Attachment should not be there. My son, my wife, my father, my house, my job, my should go from our inner consciousness, and Krishna should be there, stating that everything what you, today is a great day for me because I got lots and lots of teaching from you. What you said, we should devote our time and every moment in the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who is the ultimate truth and ultimate reality, where we have to go, because this is not our abode. Abode is the lotus feet. After reaching him, we are not going to come in this vicious circle of life, which is only Maya and materialism. So we should try. You have attained that. We are trying to attain, because we are in that reality. We have to raise our kids. We have to do jobs, because we have to sustain our living, our kids. So
We should surrender everything.
we should surrender everything at Lord Krishna's feet, as you rightly taught us. And Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that is why it's said, is the greatest book, greatest teacher of this world. We should study Gita, as Lord Krishna has told us everything, how we should eat, how we should live. Our life should be sattvic. Satogul, Rajogul, Tamogul. So we should remove Tamo and we should be sattvic.
Yeah.
Sattvic life should be there. Our food, our living. So when Lord Krishna showed his Virat Sharup to Arjuna in chapter 11, he says, when he showed, he said, you are only mean, Madhyam, because everyone is already there. Everyone, you see, everyone is dead. Hajaro, lots and lots of, thousands of Shankar, thousands of Brahma, thousands of serpents, thousands of hands. And Arjun, he was so much disturbed. He said, no, please, I want to see your Sankh, Chakra and Gadaru. Because he saw all the Pandavas, all the Kauravas were in his mouth. All the Kaurava. He said, you are only means. They are already dead. So why are you becoming Pandit? Why? You are only there. You have to fight. That is why Srimad Bhagavad Gita, taught by Lord Krishna, gave teaching to Arjun, and by means of Arjun to us also on the battlefield. And this Srimad Bhagavad Gita teaches us non-violence. Only teaches us to do our duty. Duty is for duty's sake. Duty. We should do our duty without any attachment. Without any, हम ये करेंगे तो हमको ये मिलेगा. We will do something and we will get something. No. We have to do everything for God, and in return, we want God's lotus feet. Because this is the vicious circle. So, as you rightly said, we should devote our time in Krishna, and Krishna will be our savior.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you.
Shall we do arti?
Is the barrister in Supreme Court of India, Prabhu. He's dealing lot of cases and coming across so many experiences.
I am trying to learn Gita, Prabhuji. I am trying. I try to study.
We're happy to have company of people like you.
No, I am happy that today my brother-in-law, he's my brother-in-law, he said today, so I am so grateful to God that tomorrow I am leaving for India.
But
So,
I said, no, you have to come here and take that.
so it's my grace, God's grace.
Yes.
एक स्टोरी भूल गया, छोटी सी स्टोरी थी. After I'll tell you a story about
Yeah. Last time. Okay.
Whenever you were there, I'd be more than happy to go. So
Very happy.
we are devotees. फोटो ले सकते हैं. Jai. 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 Jai.